guest to discuss what NATO's response may be. He's the former U.S. Deputy Military Representative to NATO, retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Blaine Holt. Blaine, so good to have you with us. President Trump did react to this, and he said, what's with this? Here we go. It kind of is the right sentiment. Here we go. But where are we going? And what happens now? Article 4, it's not Article 5, but it's still pretty serious here.
Yeah, so the next step is Article 4. We're going to have any NATO member state that feels its sovereignty has been violated or its security is imperiled can call for this meeting of all the nations, and they will sit down and they will discuss what's happened. What we're still waiting on is the forensics, because not a lot of this makes any sense whatsoever. You've got 20 drones, 19 to 20 based on who you're listening to, but you've also got the that have come in, but we don't know why. It doesn't make any sense from a military standpoint from the Russian side. But the leading general in Poland, the defense minister in Poland, immediately had assessed this was a mistake, not an attack. At the worst, it could have been probing our scramble capabilities. Overnight, we saw Prime Minister Tusk really amp up the rhetoric and say, no, this is an attack on us, and we need to act accordingly. So what I'm looking for now is the phone call between Navrosky and President Trump. That's going to be determinant about what happens next.
Okay, I'm glad you went there. Tusk has been a vocal critic of President Trump in the past, and was even sort of trying to put guardrails on the president as he came over to meet with our president last week in that historic Oval Office meeting, saying, well, it's not the president of Poland that sets national security. It's us here in the government. So, I mean, obviously there's a strain internally for Poland. But the bigger picture is this just provocation by Russia? They test the red lines. I mean, it's at a point now where everyone's looking at the sanctions, what happens. And it seems like Putin is just thumbing his nose at all of it yet again. It's not the first time Poland had to scramble jets, you know, Blaine. We talked about this just days ago.
Yeah, we did, and it's happened before. But again, militarily, what Russia is doing now, while they're waiting for the West's agenda of what the next talks are going to look like, is they're going to keep pressing this military campaign to get to the end of their goals. And I believe they're going to try to attempt to get that done before the winter comes. So what we have to do is have perfect forensics, which we have access to that data. The intel is not scant here on where those drones came from, what happened to them, and how they found themselves into Polish airspace. That's what has to happen, because Article 4 is a very serious meeting. Article 5 is the next meeting after that. That's an escalation path.
So we wait for the forensics. But Putin knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows the response he's going to get. And apparently, he's just ready to go forward in this mode and fashion here. We watched that for that readout, as you said, between the president of Poland and President Trump, who are on very good and secure footing, fortunately, for NATO and our defense here. All right, I want to talk to you about this very alarming video that came out yesterday on the Hill about these unidentified, we say UFOs, but they call them, you know, UAEs. And it's a U.S. Hellfire missile, Blaine, strikes an object. This was over the coast of Yemen. But the scary part, even to these are military trained, seasoned men. They say this is some of the most frightening video they've seen, because the Hellfire missile, it doesn't detonate. So you wonder right there, is the object just disabling its fusing system? I mean, it should have detonated on impact, and also the physics are strange. The object, you know, seems to continue to go in the same direction, even after being hit by a Hellfire missile.
We've got to learn a whole lot more. This is a very interesting development here. These orbs, this is not the first time we've seen this. If you recall the big scare about drones all over New Jersey and up and down, there were many of these that were photographed in that big hysterical moment. A Hellfire missile carries about 6 to 9 pounds of explosive. So I've heard some reporting that on the Hill that there's nothing that could survive a hit like that. That's not true. My C-17 would lose one engine on the hit of a Hellfire. So, but what we have to find out is what's the object, what was the detonation rate, and then again, back to the forensics, and we have to learn a lot more. Is it a UAP? Don't know. Got to find out.